Welcome, Augustana, to our weekly brief text study of the upcoming preaching text for this Sunday, March 21, which is the fifth Sunday of Lent, which means that a week from Sunday we begin Holy Week. So we are drawing to a close in our Lenten journey and preparing ourselves for Jesus entering the city of Jerusalem. He enters in triumph on Palm Sunday, and by the end of the week, of course, we know what happens. The crowds turn on him. He's brought before Pilate. He's tried. He's beaten, spit upon, flogged, and crucified. And then, of course, God triumphs over all of that with the resurrection on Easter Sunday morning. So that's what we're headed toward, and it comes out in the text for today, chapter 18, verses 31 through 43. That's the end of the chapter, and then chapter 19, verses 1 through 10. So we basically have three different stories, but they're all kind of connected in an interesting way, and it has to do with the ability to see or to not see, with blindness, and with the desire to see Jesus. And that's kind of the common thread that goes through these three stories. They're favorites of mine, particularly the story of the blind man at the roadside, the blind beggar at the roadside. And then, of course, Zachaeus is a favorite Sunday school story for all of us that we remember vividly, about the man who is short in stature, who climbs up into a sycamore tree so he can catch a glimpse of Jesus as he comes by. But let's just take this bit by bit real quickly. Verses 31 to 34, Jesus takes the 12 aside, which I think is kind of interesting. He takes his 12 disciples, takes them off kind of by himself off to the side, and then he says to them, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem," because that's where he needs to go. Way back in chapter 9 in Luke's Gospel is the first time he says, "I am setting my face toward Jerusalem," because he knows that's where his death and resurrection will take place. And so he knows he needs to go to Jerusalem. "See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and everything that is written about the Son of Man by the prophets will be accomplished, for he will be handed over to the Gentiles, and he will be mocked and insulted and spat upon. After they have flogged him, they will kill him, and on the third day he will rise again." But they understood nothing about all these things. In fact, what he said was hidden from them, and they did not grasp what was said. Now keep in mind, this is the third time that Jesus has predicted his death. That will happen in Jerusalem. Does God keep it hidden from them? Or are they just so blind that they can't see? They don't understand it. They don't grasp it, even though Jesus plainly tells them what is about to happen. And what's interesting is right on the heels of this last prediction that Jesus makes about his death in Jerusalem to his disciples, as he starts going to Jericho, and you have to go through Jericho to get to Jerusalem. As he approaches Jericho, there's a blind man sitting by the roadside begging. And when he hears the crowd going by, he asked what was happening. Now keep in mind that this blind man is on this road because there's a lot of traffic there probably. And begging is his only means of finding enough food to eat. And we also know that when a person loses his or her sight, their other senses become more heightened. And so I would imagine this man's sense of hearing was acute, and he could tell something was going on. When he heard a crowd going by, he heard the buzz in the crowd, he heard the energy in the crowd. He asked what was happening, and they told him, "Jesus of Nazareth is passing by." And then it's interesting what he does. He shouts out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Now, Son of David is a title. It's a messianic title. It's acknowledging that Jesus is of the line of David, where the Messiah was going to come from. It's a long promise with the people of Israel. How did he know that? And he shouts out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And the crowd tries to get him to shut up. They sternly ordered him to be quiet, but then he shouts out even more loudly, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. He says the same thing twice. And then Jesus hears him. He stands still and he orders the man to be brought to him. And when he comes near, he asks him, and this is a marvelous question. I think it's one of the most important questions in the Bible, especially the New Testament. Jesus asked him, what do you want me to do for you? What a great question. As we think about our own lives, our own relationship with Christ, how would you answer the question? What do you want me to do for you? Kind of a hard question to answer when you stop and think about it. Maybe a painful question to answer. What do you want me to do for you? He says, Lord, let me see again. Does that mean at one time in his life he could see? Does it mean he wants to see in a new way? Lord, let me see again. Jesus said to him, receive your sight, your faith has saved you. Immediately he regained his sight and followed him, glorifying God. And all the people, when they saw it, praised God. This blind beggar sitting by the side of the road cries out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And what's interesting to me is when he first cries out, he doesn't ask for healing, he doesn't ask for money, he doesn't ask for food, he asks for mercy. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And then when Jesus asks him the question, he has an answer. Lord, let me see again. Let me see again. And then he enters the city of Jericho and was passing through it, because you have to go through Jericho to get to Jerusalem. A man was there named Zachaeus. And he was a chief tax collector, and he was rich. So we know two things about him. And the people didn't look on him kindly because of the fact that he was a tax collector. And verse 3 is the verse that sort of captures my attention. He was trying to see who Jesus was. Zacchaeus was curious. He wondered about this man Jesus. But on account of the crowd he could not see. He could not because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him. Zacchaeus sounds almost desperate for something different, a change in his life, to the point where he would even climb up a tree just to catch a glimpse of this man going by. That's all apparently he wanted, at least at the beginning of the story. And then when Jesus comes to the place, he looks up and says to Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried down and was happy to welcome him. Can you imagine the joy? This man, a chief tax collector, an outsider, nobody in the city would have had any appreciation or love for Zacchaeus. And Jesus looks up and he sees him and says, come on down, I'm coming to your house today and we're going to have dinner together. And of course the crowd doesn't like it. They begin to grumble and say, he has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner. And at this point in time, Zacchaeus' heart is changed and transformed because Christ sees him. Christ acknowledges him. He loves him. Lord, look, half of my possessions I will give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay them back 4 times. And then Jesus said to him, Today, I think this is significant. Salvation has come to this house because he too is a son of Abraham. No one is excluded. And Jesus initiates the transformation here. Jesus doesn't love him because of what Zacchaeus decides to do. Zacchaeus decides to do what he decides to do because he's loved by Jesus. He knows that Jesus sees him and accepts him and loves him for who and what he is. He's a son of Abraham. And then verse 10, for the Son of Man came to seek out and save the lost. Exactly the way Luke chapter 15 begins. the parables of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. That the Son of Man came to seek out and save the lost. He's looking for us. He sees us in order to change us and to love us and to welcome us back. Read these stories, ponder them, listen to how they speak to your own life, your own context. Think about how you would answer the question that Jesus asked the blind beggar, "What do you want me to do for you?" And then ask him. And my hope and prayer is that your response to that question would be, "Lord, I want to see again." Thanks for listening to the end. Hope to see you in worship on Sunday. God bless.